the night, looking down the edge of forever. So stop me or take my advice.
Now, from the Untold Radio Network, it's Untold Radio AM with Doug and Alex Hajicek.
Here we are.
Hey,
We're here. Zero technical problems.
so far.
So far. So hello, Alex. Hello, everybody in Untold Radio Land. We have I think, a good show tonight. We've got Scott Tompkins. We're going to talk about where the hell Bigfoot goes. We're going to share a bunch of secrets. Then we have our new thing debuting tonight, our new feature package.
Yes.
Which is called Technological Breakdown.
I'm excited to hit that bumper.
Yeah, that's because you can rest while I do that. You can go to the bathroom. Take a break.
Yeah, in 8 seconds.
That's why. That section's a lot of work, by the way.
Oh, I can only imagine.
It is, actually. But you got to kind of think, you know. You don't want to mislead anybody. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, did you hear about those 2 passenger planes that hit beyond the speed of sound, 800 miles an hour? 2 of them this last week.
No.
Oh, you didn't hear about that? There was a tailwind of 265 miles an hour.
Whoa.
That was a tailwind on these planes. Needless to say, they got to their gate early. Very early.
Yeah, I'd say.
I mean, that's 200 miles an hour, almost over what they normally fly. You know, they fly normally 550, 500.
That is incredible.
My airlines, I think, flies 300 miles an hour, maybe slower. I have an airlines.
Yeah.
That I use exclusively.
Which one is it?
Not telling you.
No, it's a top secret.
Yeah, not going to tell you. Oh, man. Let's see here. What else do we got? Astronomers find what may be a black hole. Listen to this. Devouring one sun each day. Every day, a sun goes bloop down the rabbit hole. Think about that.
Well,
how tragic it is for the people that live around that sun.
Oh, I know.
Those dudes.
Hope we're not next.
You know, there's creatures getting sucked in there.
Yeah.
You know it. I mean, that doesn't, okay, so one a day, that doesn't include all of the hundreds of planets and moons.
Yeah.
It's just the suns. I mean, picture our sun. We've got what? How many planets in our solar system? Do you know? I don't even know.
What is it, like 8?
Something like that. 8, 9. No, 9 with Pluto. If that's a planet.
Yeah. Yeah, they went back and forth on that.
Yeah, forgive my voice today. I've just been on the phone all day long. Talking since early this morning. And then right before I went on the air, I got a call. And I'm like, oh, man. What else do we have? Let's see. A little more on this. Apparently, it's also the brightest object in the universe is this thing.
The thing in the picture?
Yeah, the thing in the picture. It's like a black hole, but it's not black.
Was it a white hole?
It's a white hole. Well, everything has to have an opposite, right?
Yeah.
Left needs right. Cold needs hot. So
Black
there you go.
white.
And apparently it's fine. Listen to this. I mean, this whole article is kind of mind-blowing. This thing shines 500 trillion times brighter than our sun. Think about how much that is. That's times 500 trillion brighter than our sun.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what the Dickens. Imagine the suntan you could get, Alex. Let's see what else. Okay, this black hole thing is 17 billion times bigger than our sun. This is apparently reported by an Australian-led team. I just hope our sun isn't in the path of this thing. Yeah, could you just imagine? Oh my goodness, the planets. The people looking at their Apple Watches right now going, okay, we're next. We're in line. Man, that's crazy. Okay, and then there was another discovery this week, which is pretty interesting. The hamburger planet was discovered. The hamburger planet, photo 2, I sent you. There it is. It's the Five Guys, Jack in the Box, Donald's Planet. There it is.
Sponsored by Burger King.
Yeah, there it is. It looks like maybe a butt crack that's peeking through a hole in a blanket. Anyhow,
Oh my gosh.
kind of looks like that. Anyhow, so I just call it the Sandwich Planet. And apparently it's the weirdest thing they've ever seen.
Those 2 hot dogs.
Two hot dogs? Is that what people say?
That's what
John Ayers goes, the center is black. Mary's just says, ha ha. John Ayers, 2 hot dogs. Yep. And Grasshopper says, so much money spent on studying the universe, and we can't stop the wars humans are doing. Yep. Cool. Yep. It's true. I don't know what we're going to do with this info. I always do wonder about that. What do we do with the info? So we found a hamburger planet.
Maybe
We ain't going there.
Maybe 2,000 years from now we go there.
Well, this hamburger planet, we have no danger of getting there soon. It's 800 light years away. So we're safe. But they named it kind of an interesting name. They named it Dracula's Shivato. That's what this planet's called.
Dracula's Shivato, not his
Yeah,
friend.
due to the fact there's apparently a couple of white fangs that they're seeing. It didn't show up on this. They're seeing these 2 white fangs, and they don't even know what those are. Kind of overlapping the lips.
Okay.
So apparently those are lips, not burgers.
Or a crack.
Yeah. And I got to leave this photo now because I just thought of something else, and I'm not going to say it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Gosh. Yep, I went right into the grumpy old men scenario. Okay. And speaking of little untold things and topics, throw up photo 3. And please, people in chat, tell me what the hell these are. These are creatures, living creatures. Any guesses? Any guesses? Look like something that Tim Burton would create.
Yeah.
If he was God and he created an animal, this would definitely be a Halloween animal.
It does look like that.
Cross between a panda bear and a Halloween decoration.
Yeah.
Anybody know what they are?
Panda.
Yeah, they look like pandas. Finding the Direct Way said that. They look like pandas. Another person. Panda jellyfish. That's a pretty good guess, John. They are cucumber squirts.
Mm.
So they're alive, but they're only 2 millimeters long. That's tiny. It's like, what, not even a 1/8 inch, like an 1/8 inch. They're tiny, almost microscopic. How long is 2 millimeters in inches? Well, I know 10 millimeters is about 3/4 of an inch. So 2 is, I don't know, 1/8 inch.
About 1/10 an inch.
No, it's not a 10th. It's got to be an 1/8. Whatever. But they're called sea squirts. They're 2 millimeters long. Discovered in Japan, and apparently these were discovered 2 years ago, but people are just kind of now finding out about them. They're cool. But apparently they eat with those, that's what they eat with. Their little mouse.
It's so weird looking.
Yep. And then there was a man bitten by his pet Gila monster, and he died in Colorado. And I'm thinking, what in the hell are you doing with a Gila monster in the first place? Everybody knows they're poisonous. They're venomous. I couldn't imagine having something that could kill me.
Yeah, but it looks so cool.
But apparently, most people only suffer severe bleeding and swelling.
Oh,
And I'm like, well, gee, that's not so great either.
severe
Yeah.
bleeding and swelling.
So they confirmed that a 34-year-old Colorado man died this month, days after being bitten by one of his two. He had two of them. Double the fun, Gila monsters. So I feel bad for the guy. It's a terrible thing. But definitely goes in the dumb ways to die.
Yeah, that's tough.
But then again, in a little research, nobody's died since 1930 from a pet Gila monster.
Oh, okay.
I wonder how many people die from their pet dogs every year.
1 out of 100.
What? Man, okay.
What?
You're definitely on donut overload. Photo 5, what could go wrong? Let's go ahead and throw up photo 5. Again, I do apologize for my very, very twice as hoarse as it normally is. Okay, so scientists, these are viruses that are in the ocean. Scientists get the bright idea that they're going to manipulate them, do genomic changes to these viruses so they can absorb more carbon out of the atmosphere. What could go wrong when you start releasing unknown viruses, right?
Yeah.
Into the oceans now.
Oh, even better.
It's just I can't even comprehend.
It sounds like
the
a
people are
sci-fi
so
movie.
brainwashed that they want to go after and do something like that, to even try. Why? Jesus. Talk about playing God.
Yeah.
It never goes right. Never. It's going to be the end of mankind. So apparently these live in the water, these viruses, but they trap carbon emissions. So scientists are figuring out ways to enhance them. Jeez. Says this could mitigate the worst effects of climate change. I'm like, oh my God.
Makes you want to drink a glass of water.
Oh God, yes. Yep. Well, I told you there's like millions of viruses in the ocean. Like you take a teaspoon, there's like 5 million or more. Somebody can look it up, but it's in the millions in just one teaspoon of water. People do not comprehend how small viruses are. They're tiny, 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 tiny. And when you think they're tiny enough, go way smaller. They're probably 1,000 times smaller than the smallest thing you could even imagine.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah. All right. So I thought we would do a little, since we were talking about planes, I was talking about planes going 800 miles an hour. Put a smile on your face. Let's talk about planes. Trivia. Let's do some trivia on just everyday planes, jets, passenger jets.
Can I hit the bumper?
And not about their history, but more like pertinent stuff people need to know. Trivia you need to know.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Okay. One of the things people do wonder about, are there beds on a plane, on a regular passenger jet? Beds. somewhere that you don't know about? It's a yes or no.
I'm gonna guess yes for emergency reasons.
So apparently on most planes, like the Boeing 777, the 787, and on, there are these little sleeping compartments. It's like what you'd see probably in a semi-truck. Little place that they can lay down, one person. So it's a bed. So it looks kind of like an overhead bin they get into. Alex is like,
Doesn't sound very
yep,
comfortable.
glad I'm not a pilot. Another fact, this isn't I'm not into the trivia yet. No, people do die in airplanes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do? Do you think they turn back? Nope. They usually just cover them with a rug. That's what they're instructed to do. A rug.
Do they leave them in the chair?
No, they'll usually clear an aisle out for the deceased.
So you don't have to sit next to them the whole flight?
Yeah, then they cover them with a rug.
Man, that's gotta suck.
Yeah, that's what it says.
So do you trip over them when you go
But
into the
they
bathroom?
try to save you, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're dying on a plane, they do try. So is there okay, so now we're getting into trivia. Can you name another money-making business that planes have besides selling the tickets and maybe food and drink on the plane? How else do they make money, Alex? And chat room. I always forget we got brilliant people in chat.
So
Lori goes, a rug? I don't make this stuff up, Lori. That's what this official info I read.
Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I'll go with Scott's answer.
Wi-Fi? No, it's not.
It's not.
Lost luggage is pretty big business because they sell it to a place, gets auctioned off to these distributors, and then it goes to this unclaimed baggage center in Scottsboro, Alabama. And apparently they have exclusive contracts with all major U.S. airlines to purchase luggage that's been declared lost. And then apparently they keep it for 3 months. So remember that. And it says most of the content's usually thrown away. I would imagine that's the underwear. But then the rest is then sold to this place and then they sell it.
So they sell your iPad?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. iPad, laptop, gone. So what year do you think smoking? This will be a hard one for people. What year was smoking banned on airplanes?
The late 90s.
Late 90s. Okay, how about in chat? When was smoking banned on airlines?
I'm going to go with 1996.
Well, I'm going to beep the beeper here. The year 2000.
Oh, really? Right on
still,
2000.
yeah, you could still smoke on airplanes. Up until 2000. Isn't that crazy? What color are most cloth airplane seats? Is it red, tan, gray, or blue? Red, tan, gray, or blue?
The last one I was on was
almost 100% of the airlines.
Is it blue?
You are right. It's blue.
Why would
I think you were tied with Lori Barnes.
That's so weird.
It's blue because it's a calming color.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So people don't freak out.
That's why people just, as soon as we meet them, they just relax because we have both have blue eyes. They just go limp.
Oh.
Okay. When is the cutoff if you're pregnant? How many weeks is the cutoff? Or they don't want you flying. They'll ban you from flying. How many weeks?
25 weeks.
25 weeks. This is Alex's guess. Anybody else going? Lori says 36. John Ayers says 30. It is Deborah Berman got it. 36 weeks.
Nice.
And what odd skill are stewardess trained at? They're trained with one very odd skill.
CPR.
That's a good guess.
Delivering babies.
Yes, that is correct. Delivering
Okay.
babies. So they have to go through baby delivery training.
Can you imagine having to deliver a baby during a plane
On an
flight?
airplane? Yeah. You imagine having your kid born on a plane.
I wonder, did you think they
How do
have
you start? I mean, you can't start life any better than, at 35,000 feet, right?
It's a sky baby.
Okay. Another question. What seat offers you the best chance of not getting sick on a flight? Is it the aisle, the middle, or the window?
The window?
Yeah, you're right again. You beat everybody. The window. Don't ask me. I have no idea. I guess you're the farthest away from most people. Okay, the FAA requires that all aircraft can be evacuated in just what? 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 90 seconds.
2 minutes.
Anybody want to take Alex to task on that? Alex says 2 minutes. Is it 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 90 seconds?
We got 2 minutes.
We got lots of 2 minutes. Everybody's agreeing. Lay says 90 seconds. John, 90 seconds. It is 90 seconds. And could you imagine? I was on a plane one time that filled up with faux smoke. It was steam, but people thought it was smoke, and they decided to evacuate the plane because all this steam was coming on the inside of something with the air conditioning system. It was a really humid day. I mean, God, it took like an hour to get that plane empty.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Like, it could be a fire, and they're looking for their luggage. I'm thinking, oh my God, people. 90 seconds, yeah. Mm-hmm.
No way.
No way. Ain't happening. All right. This is kind of interesting. We're going to get to a couple interesting things here. How often are the blankets washed on a plane? One day, each flight, or once a week?
Each flight.
Each flight.
Yeah, every single flight.
Guess at how often they wash the blankets? Every day, every week, or each flight? Legos never. Larry says each night. Deborah Anderson one day. Steve says weekly. Okay, it's at least once a month.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah, it's at least once a month.
Once a month.
Generally, it's 5 days to a month, every month.
Wow. Okay.
I knew there was a reason I've never asked for a blanket ever. Even on my overseas flights, never.
Yeah.
No blankets.
Yep.
On my last overseas flight, I talked the stewardesses, Mr. Charming, into letting me into their lounge, secret lounge. It was sweet. And I was flying to Germany and then on to Russia. But they let me in their secret lounge because I was apparently film crew. I was shooting a story for ABC News. But that was pretty sweet, man. You have no idea how sweet that was on that long flight.
It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was. Okay, enough of that. What else? What type of filter do they use to filter the air? Is one of the questions. It's 40% apparently is filtered, 60% is fresh air. But what type of filter do they use to filter the air? Alex, it is not a furnace filter.
It's not.
It's not
it's a HEPA filter.
Yeah. Do you know what HEPA means?
High efficiency something.
Yeah. Particulate air system.
Yeah.
Yep. Good. I'm impressed. Anyhow, I don't even want to think about the pillow. We were talking about the blankets. I don't want to think about the pillows. Oh.
Oh
And you
god,
think about,
never.
the cooties.
Yeah,
Did I say that? Yes, I did. Don't want no cooties.
they keep them till they get stained on both sides.
Oh, fuck. It's like, ugh. Another thing I've never asked for is a pillow.
This
Uncle Joe will fly with me. He always takes the pillow, and I'm thinking, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that if you were. You're gonna bring little buddies home. All right. And when do we want to talk about technology? And I'm looking. Just hang on a second here. When do we want to do that? Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, let's
I
do
don't
it.
think it matters. Doesn't matter when.
Can I hit the bumper?
Yeah, and then you can do the piece.
No.
You can be the technological breakdown guy. All right. Let's start out. Throw up photo 7. We're going to talk about 360 cameras today. Everything you'd ever need to know about 360 cameras. Okay. So this object is built by Stealth Cam. It hasn't even been released yet. It's called the Revolver. And it has 6 zones that circulate on the inside. And so the actual camera itself actually moves. So it's very mechanical. And these are great, but I think it was John. Yeah, John Ayers sent this to me. And a lot of people send this kind of stuff, and I don't know, they're thinking maybe it might be good for Bigfoot. And sure the heck would be if Bigfoot was stupid, because the thing is huge. You have to have it plopped in the middle of a field, right? And you, at that point, it's going to be seen, and they're very, very expensive. They're called plot watchers. Cameras are like this. 360 footage is great. And so what there are 6 passive sensors around the outside. Then whatever zone gets triggered, the camera will rotate around and take video or stills or whatever you have it set up for, and then beam it to your phone. So it is cool. If you're rich and you're a Bigfoot researcher, this would be cool to have in your little arsenal. But I think it would be something you would want to place, like changing the location every day. You wouldn't want to leave it there. It's going to get busted. You're going to want to still maybe put it behind something like a pole, maybe a tree. So you're still not going to get 360. So maybe you'll get, 280. And so what I want to do is talk about one-sided 360 cameras, which are much more practical. But I think something like this is great for deer, wild boar, those kind of things. If you're a hunter, you're a wildlife researcher, yeah, it's fine. I just, it's obviously very visible. There's no way to hide it. So I'd give it a pretty low score for that reason.
This is too visible.
Yeah, it's just too visible. And it's noisy. It's going to be mechanical, so it's going to make quite a bit of noise. They claim the range on this is about 100 foot on the passive IR sensors to trigger the camera. But let's go ahead and talk about flat. A lot of people don't know anything about 360 cameras. In fact, are you able, Alex, to throw up that link? And then we can show them what 360 footage is really all about?
Yeah. Are you talking about the video you
It's a link that was in my section. It starts out, it's a YouTube link.
Yep. Yeah, I have it. Do you want the sound on that or no?
No, I don't need the sound. I just want to see you manipulate the footage to show people how amazing. Okay, so just let it play. No. This is this camera. That's not the link. The link starts out, it's link 1. I have it listed. Oh, no. Sorry. My fault.
I think I know what you're talking about. Is this one? Is this the one?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah. Go ahead and just fast forward it, please. All right. So now go ahead and take your mouse and scroll around so people can see how you can rotate the footage while it's playing.
Okay, I see. Let me grab the link. I have it downloaded.
No, what? I don't even know what this is. I never sent that to you. All you got to do is just look up 360 footage.
Yeah.
I don't even know what this is. What the hell is this? Looks interesting, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, I got a clip.
I sent you a really good clip. Link 2. Okay, so Alex is manipulating this while it's playing. Go ahead and look at the sky, Alex. Okay, look at the ground. Look all the way around, 360.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And the reason this works is because a one-sided 360 camera has an extremely wide-angle lens. I mean, it just turns the world into a cone. And then in the application of the app, it stitches it. So you can stitch it together. It can be a little cumbersome, but maybe worth it, you know. So I'm planning on a 360 camera, and here's how I'm going to deploy it, which is pretty tricky. I'm going to, okay, you're getting me dizzy.
Sorry.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this camera. Go ahead and throw this photo up here, the 361 camera. That's photo 8, I believe.
Was it this one?
Yeah, photo 8. Okay, you can see it's one side. There's only a lens on one side. So I'm going to take this camera and I'm going to completely with hot glue and just cover it with sticks and leaves and all sorts of stuff. And then I'm going to drill little holes and I'm going to install little hooked wires all over it, almost in a ball. Thin gauge hooked wires, really thin and soft wire. You can get a annealed wire that's super soft, and there you'll find out why I need it to be really soft. So picture this thing with wires about 3 inches long, little hooks on the end, all over this thing, almost like the movie Hellraiser, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I'm sure everybody knows that movie. And then literally I'm going to attach a long vine, something natural to it, a long vine, and I'm going to just throw it up in a tree. And if I don't get it in the right position, I'm going to pull it down and throw it up again. So it's just going to look like a fungus ball or something natural, squirrel's nest. See, the idea is just to disguise it. The only thing you want showing is the lens, right? Obviously, it's not going to be good for your camera. That's why I'm using hot glue. Hot glue is very odorless. You can usually get it off completely safely. And that's how I think this camera could be really, really useful. Get it up in a tree. And talking early spring, or a tree that's partially dead. So the type of tree is going to be pretty important. And remember, you're going to have to knock this thing down every 200 minutes, 150 minutes.
To get the
footage. Because 360 cameras, because they're about 5-6K, they use a ton of memory space. The batteries aren't really huge in them, so they're only going to last 90 minutes I would say the average camera is probably 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the air temperature. So you're not really going to have a ton of time. And so this is like a perfect scenario where you've had like visitors come to a cabin, a house, or an area on a pretty regular basis. You may have to do that 30 times. Maybe you'll never get any footage. But if you don't try, you're never going to get it.
Exactly.
But you could get some pretty amazing footage with this of something walked under the tree. It would be really, really, really amazing. Because you'd be able to see the back of the creature, the front of the creature, just details you wouldn't imagine. Plus being, 5.7K for this one, That's pretty good. And this one is $2.99 right now on Amazon.
It's not bad
So it's not bad.
for what you're gonna be
About
able
a
to do.
200-minute record time. It's fairly low light. You can go in manually. It doesn't do it automatically. You got to go in manually and change the ISO and so on for low light, and then deploy it on a on a night that you have a moon. Plan your little things. I tell everybody I'm going to repeat this every show. If you're going to get footage of Bigfoot or evidence, you're going to need a multi-step process. You see, how many steps did I just talk about with this camera?
Yeah.
Changing the entire outline of it, checking moon tables, where the lunar tables are going to be for light, deploying it, retrieving it. These are multiple steps. It's far more than just strapping a camera, which I really consider one or two steps. So the more steps in your research, the better and more effective it's going to be. It's just about guaranteed. So let me see if I've got any other little notes I may have missed. Oh, the other thing you can do with a camera like this, kind of cool. Let's say you're in a camp, an expedition. You're at the base of Mount St. Helens, and you've got even a picnic table, or if somebody's got a camp table. And you got five tents in camp. Set this behind a pop can that's left out behind it. So if something approaches it from one angle, right, it's not going to see it. They're going to see the pop can, which I'm sure they've seen a million times. People are slobs. Just hastily leave one out, put this behind it. You've now really have a good chance of it not noticing the camera because it's going to have to walk around from the back side. Many of us have experienced these things coming into camp. That would be a good trap. Or it could be behind a potato chip bag or whatever. Could be set inside an empty potato chip bag, so just the lens is out. The key is if a human will not see it, you might have a chance at getting footage. If you can see it, they can see it.
Exactly.
So just whatever you do, which is why I don't like that revolver camera, because where am I going to hide it in order to take advantage of that 360?
A human would notice that right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the trick is to completely hide it. Like you need to just walk away and then come back and try to find it.
It's got to be a struggle for you to find your own camera, almost.
Well, no, it's not a struggle,
but you know what I mean.
You should a stranger and say, "Find my camera. It's over here." And if they can find it in
That's
under,
great.
3 minutes, it's not good enough.
So a stranger, if you put your camera up and you ask a buddy,
don't let your buddy see it. Bring him over. Yeah. Say, "Can you find my camera?"
He should really
in this vicinity, in this very narrow vicinity. And if they go, "Hell, I can't figure it out."
But if
you've done a good job.
But if he's like, "Oh yeah, it's right there," you're
no,
not good enough.
It's not good enough. I mean, we really have to all kind of come together that all the game cameras all over the country, we really don't have any good, nothing. Yeah, there may be some that are questionable, but there's nothing good that I think is good. It's not scientifically good. I think that's about it. I gave ideas. Oh, another idea that I'm going to be talking about next week will be, I will be showing you plans on how to alter your tent with zero money. So next time you go camping, you will have the bead on the Bigfoot.
Awesome.
This is a system I even did and performed for Les Stroud. It's very, very cool. So we'll talk about that next week and more ways to camouflage your cameras. And then we'll talk about some mechanical ideas for mechanical spring wind cameras, which are non-powered for the people who believe they can sense electricity. I personally think they use their eyes. My God, they don't need to sense electricity when you've strapped a giant game trail camera that isn't even the right
Right.
color on a tree.
Yeah, when it's
They don't need to sense electricity for that.
No, let's start there. Let's start with the camouflage.
I think that they operate on fear. They're so cautious when they go into an area, that they know there's people around. And I don't know. That's it. That's all I've got. Let's move on to Doug's clips of my clip picks. And let's bring Scott on now.
Okay.
And I want to just let me introduce. Well, you can bring him on. I'll introduce him right in front of him. Hey, Scott.
I think I was ready.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're out, getting a Coke. Okay. So Scott, right here, you're looking at him. He's the creator of the Bigfoot Mapping Project, which is just so cool. And you have a Bachelor of Science degree in GIS from the State University of New York at Cortland, and you have over 14 years. Well, it's probably 15 now. Is it 15?
I'm going on 17, believe it or
17. Well, you need to, that's the problem with the internet, right?
not. I just aged myself. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was probably
17 years of GIS field experience. So his perspective is very, very important. He's taken on this huge task, completely free, to basically map every damn sighting in the whole entire world, right?
working on it. That's the goal.
It's a work in progress. But as when me and Scott talk, there's always something new to talk about, right? We always have something new to discover, new ways to interpret maps and that kind of thing.
Usually we can go for like hours. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And, these maps, I spent, before we get into my clips for the week, I spent last night probably 2 hours on the website looking at the high definition maps and just randomly checking all these sightings to see how close they were to water. Mm-hmm. Those real high def. Those aren't Google Maps, are they? There's some other. Those are really high def.
No, they're from the Living Atlas that Esri provides, and it's really, really great.
They're amazing
resource. Esri's great. They have just so much authoritative data that you could really find just about anything you want.
But
really.
I couldn't find one sighting that wasn't right next to a, real close to a stream or a pond, or everything was.
Oh yeah, it's generally, I mean, from what I've looked at, most of the sightings that I've seen when I looked at it in the context of like hydrography, and it's within a quarter mile or a few hundred feet, half a mile at most is a stretch if they're going in between water bodies. But
well,
right.
Generally though, if you look at the drainage, there are small, because I'm looking sometimes at the vegetation too, and I can see, oh yeah, that's a drainage field. But there's probably a stream might even be a foot wide. Doesn't get mapped real well because you can see the lake, the headwaters. Anyhow, so let's just do some, we've got like 5 clips, Scott, and we're going to talk about Bigfoot. And you can react to these damn things too.
Live reaction. I was not prepped for this, so.
You're not prepped for a live reaction? Well, I would welcome your live reaction. Let's see here. I'm gonna get back. I'm doing everything out of order tonight, Scott.
Cool.
So what do you think of our technology breakdown section we're gonna have in the show every week?
I like that. I like your breakdown of how you're gonna modify the camera. I was thinking about a lot of stuff. When you said the vine, that you're gonna attach a live vine, I thought it'd be cool if you ran the vine long enough and attached it to a car battery somehow so you could leave it up longer, the camera.
Sure, you could hide. Yeah, those are the cool things that I'm hoping.
Or 12 volt. Yeah.
That if I maybe just become kind of a catalyst to get people thinking, they might go, oh, I don't like that. that 200-minute limit. Let's run some little wires. We'll put them green.
You get a solid state hard drive that's a terabyte now. Or 2 terabytes, you can store a lot of footage on that, and they're not hard to wire up, hardwire.
Yeah, there's always ways to do it that are way beyond. I'm really good at like connecting technologies or connecting things together. I'm really good at like just taking A and gluing it to B. But man, once I do, then I depend on the other people, the smart people that like, oh, we can do this and that. We're doing that right now. A friend of mine, Jeff, is building. We're building a baby Bigfoot robot. You know, I would be lost doing that. You know, this is
kind of like the decoys that the game wardens use, huh? The deer, you know, where it turns its head.
Have you ever seen all these critter cams that they have?
Mm-hmm.
They get footage of lions, gorillas, leopards, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of those.
Yeah, and they're good. Why is it, Alex, I cannot find my notes on my clips?
Oh, I see Kevin Morrison's comment that John Green's data map. I can't wait to talk about a lot of stuff. I've got a lot. I hope we can fit it all in.
Yeah, we'll get it in. Dun, dun, dun. Alex, I have no. I'm like, what is going on? By the way, I had a weird thing happen today. I went to take a shower, and my shower was wet inside. Yet the door was propped open. And I went, I'm all alone here in this house. Nobody uses that shower. This thought was kind of creeped me out.
That is creepy.
Isn't that creepy?
Just got a very clean ghost somewhere. Yeah.
It's just, yeah, exactly. But why? I'm like, it's just going to bug me forever. Why was the inside of my shower wet? And why is it my notes are missing from my clips? Oh, there we are. I found them. I bypassed them. But I'm like, did I take a shower earlier and I don't remember? Hell no, I didn't. Okay. So clip 1, sound is fine. And just some strange animals. I think everybody likes strange animals, stuff they haven't seen before. Go ahead, Alex.
Believe they are real. Look at this face. Not Photoshop. Looks like a character from Star Wars. This is the tiger antelope. They use their trunks to produce loud sounds just like the elephant. Next up is this guy. Looks like a creature from Creepers. Huge bird is the harpy eagle. Their talons are bigger than bear claws. This is the hairy frog. What's so special about him, you ask? This guy uses his own bones to make claws out of them. And so it's also known as the Wolverine frog. And that's not
Alex?
Blood vessel.
Yeah.
A hairy frog? Is that something you've ever heard of?
I've never seen a hairy frog.
How about you, Scott?
That's a new one. The first two I knew about. The hairy frog is a new one.
Yeah, I've seen that type of antelope thing with the weird nose.
Yeah, it looks like a Star Wars
it looks like a car part, right? Its nose looks like a mechanical car part. All right. You can turn the volume down. This guy's really loud. Whoa. You can finish it. I don't know if there's anything new.
To pull in oxygen. Finally, look at these guys. These are not meerkats. This is the Gerenuk, also known as the giraffe gazelle. This is what happens when the giraffe sneaks out in the middle of the night, meets a gazelle, and then goes, I don't know what happened. And yes, they use their long necks to eat food off the higher branches. Most creatures we saw today are endangered. So start living more sustainably. Right, follow me to find out how.
All right. Clip 2, no sound. There has been a huge invasion of sharks into Florida. And it's actually quite, people are going out getting drones. This is like as far as your eye can see sharks. It's pretty crazy. Do you want to go swimming, Scott? Alex?
No, I got a story about that. I don't know if there was that many sharks when I like to shark fish, my brother and I, in Florida of all places.
Oh, yeah.
And it's at 2 or 3 a.m. and I don't know if there were that many sharks in the water, but you could see them, and it is spooky when you're paddling that bait out. Those look like spinner sharks or bull sharks.
Yeah, they kind of look like bull sharks, maybe lemon sharks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, let me tell you, it's spooky.
It's a lot of them
when you're out there.
Think about swimming there. No, thank you. That's why I don't like to swim in the ocean unless I can see 20 feet in front of me. All right, clip 3. Sound is good. And this gives you, we just saw a lot of sharks. This is always impressive, these migratory birds and animals. Go ahead and play. The sound's fine on this. These are snow geese. It's insane.
Oh, down here in Texas, we see them like that, right near where I live.
Really?
Lake
that many of them?
I have photos, and I'll go out and drive, and I like to also, you can tell behind me, hunt And there are snow geese, and we call them speckle bellies. What else do we have down here? Oh, and Canadian geese. But snow geese are ridiculous when they congregate like that, and they're roosting now. That's what they're doing on the water there. That's why you see so many.
Yeah, it's crazy. Have you ever seen a flock of birds that big, Alex?
No, that's insane.
It's when they land and you're in it, it sounds like a hurricane, and that is deafening. It'll get your adrenaline going. It's so cool. And there's if you watch bald eagles will follow them around, and what they do is when the lakes are frozen over, they'll fly and get the geese flying like that, and the geese will fly into each other, and one of them or two of them will get injured.
Okay.
And the eagles will wait for the ones that are stuck and injured, either in the field or on the ice, and then they'll go get them. Yeah, it's really interesting when you watch.
So it's kind of like our freeways.
It's really interesting when you watch nature, how things are strategic like that. And you can learn a lot just by sitting back and watching. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't
Yeah, for
believe,
sure.
like that clip of the birds and the sharks, the stuff that happens out there almost in your right in your backyard. You don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, clip 4. Let's see here. Yeah, clip 4. The sound is fine. There's 2 illusions we're going to look at. And the reason I like to play illusions, because trust me, when you're out, whether you're Bigfooting or no matter what you see, you cannot always trust your brain. You can trust it to a point, you know. It's always good to be a little bit whatever. But okay, take a look at this house. Watch this footage. It's an amazing illusion. I've made these illusions before. And then it'll hit you, what you're looking at. You're like, what? It's actually what I call an inside-out illusion. It's actually inside out. All you see is one. Go get it to that one point and then stop it. The next one's even better. And I recommend you actually can make these tonight. And if you put them up like high up on your shelf or your fireplace mantle, as you walk by, they'll look at you. So let's go to the next one. Clip 6. Sound is good. This is the one you should build. Make it out of a Kleenex box if you want. Go ahead and play this.
About how the illusion doesn't really work once you know the secret to
You
it.
can just
Once you
make
know
them
that it's
3
just
inches high.
inside out cardboard box. It's really hard to get that illusion to work again, especially on this side. Oh yeah, it's broken.
You see that?
Yeah.
Just kind of scroll. Yeah, it's just scroll to the part where it's just the inside. So if you aim it, you put it up on your fireplace mantle, kind of angle it. As people walk by, the thing will turn its head and watch them. So it's pretty cool. You could take this to a whole new level, Scott.
I'll put it up at my desk.
It's a great project when your son grows up to do with them.
Right. I was just thinking, if I put it up at work, the way people walk by, they think it was me there, but I could really be out in the field somewhere, and it just looks like I was really working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could. I've seen people do that. Go to YouTube and search. Okay, clip. Clip 6. Hold on here. God, I'm losing it. Clip 6. No,
we're on clip 5. We skipped.
We skipped clip 5. There we go. All right, this is another great illusion. Go ahead and play it, because this is totally real. It's just a horse, but you have to determine, is it walking away or is it walking towards you? And if you try to flip it, it'll just really freak you out. Go ahead and just play that again. So what do you think it is, walking away or walking towards you? And can you see it walking away?
I can see both. I think it's walking towards me, though. What do you guys think?
So in the very beginning, my brain always sees it walking away. Like right there, it looks like it's walking away. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's so bizarre. Yeah.
It really is. It's a great example.
I'm going by the shadow. The shadow looks like it's coming towards me. It's
just nuts. Why is it we cannot tell? Yeah, everybody's got a whole different opinion. That's one of the best illusions ever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're done. We're all you, Scott.
Oh boy, how do I live up to the optical illusion there? The dragon one, I like that a lot.
First
I like
off,
that.
I want to mention that you are working on a book.
I knew I was going to get the peer pressure.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to get it.
See, this is how I do it. This is how I roll, Scott.
I'm in public now. I'm going to commit.
Yeah. So you're working on a book, right, Scott?
Huh, surprise, surprise. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Title yet to be determined, but
Yeah.
Mapping Bigfoot is in the
That's
in the
ring.
hat.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I'm excited. It's got a lot of chapters. They'll probably change, but I've got a lot of ideas that I want to pack into the book. So
That'd be
I'm
cool.
excited. I'm excited to be newly committed to the Writers Club and already procrastinating. So
cool.
you know.
Yeah, perfect. Well, me and Alex, we publish books. So if you want to throw at least give us a chance, it'd be awesome.
I think the probability is in your favor, sir, based on a few of our conversations.
Anyhow, okay. Now I don't know if Alex wants to share the website or you do, Scott. Do you want to drive?
He'll be driving tonight.
Huh?
I can drive. Yeah, buckle up. I'm gonna drive. I'm a New
Well,
Yorker too, so I hope you guys are ready because it's a different style of driving. So
let's do a very quick. I want to go to those high res maps that I was last night, where you have like the legend with the sightings. You can pick
I sent
like
that to
the
you, right?
recent ones.
Yes, I have a bunch of Are you talking about the corridor maps that I messaged to you and sent you on Facebook there?
No, we'll get to those. This is the sighting maps that are kind of like you pick like how old you want them. They're green or they're yellow or they're red. Like the red are the brand new ones.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just the normal map that I have on my website there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah. Let's go.
Your
to
teaser
the
map. It's the easy one, the teaser one.
Yeah, I'll present. Okay, share screen, and I'm going to share my entire screen. And we're going to go share in the map there. I'm going to move you guys over onto my other monitor. And we're going to share. So did you go into the classic map or the new map?
I don't know. It's the good one. I don't know.
The good one. They're both good.
They were really detailed.
I'll start with the classic. Let's start with the old school classic map. So this is generally this is the first map I made, and it's got everything on it, including John Green's sightings. And is it the screen coming through for you guys? Can everyone see it?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Ah, there we go.
I think Alex has got to give you permission.
Oh.
So there we go. Okay. So
nice.
let's zoom in.
Yeah, where would you like to
Well, first off, I think you need to let's go to Minnesota.
Boom. Minnesota.
I'm biased. And I was looking too, and I always think how incomplete these maps are just because people don't report it.
Yeah.
Nothing you've done.
That's actually something I was thinking about while I was getting ready for our call tonight is, I've done some analysis that I would like to talk about later, where I've looked at I've done some analysis to find the most dense hotspots I can, including all 14,000 plus sightings that are reports that are in the database. But as I was doing that, I was thinking, it's going to be dynamic. It's always going to evolve because it matters where people report their sightings. If I don't know about them in the data set, then that doesn't get included in the analysis. You hit the nail on the head with that one.
Go ahead and zoom in now on one of these towards up north, I suppose.
Sure.
And you can see each one of those dots isn't just one sighting.
Oh, no. They expand generally.
Yeah. There's far more than one sighting per dot. And like you go out west and it's like one dot represents hundreds of sightings.
It could.
Okay. So keep zooming in on one, like up there. Those three red in a row. Let's pick one of those and zoom in, zoom in, zoom
Pick
in.
a good one. Okay, zoom in. I won't
Yeah,
click
just
yet.
keep going
Zoom in. Sure. Well, it almost looks like Bigfoot's really walking in the field there.
Yeah, but it's also, if you notice, it's on an easy path to walk.
Mm-hmm. Not far from a highway.
Not far from a highway. People always, I'm so, you know, I was watching a podcast the other day where they were just basically saying that people that have encounters in areas like this are just crazy. And I'm like, okay. They're not wilderness animals. They're not wilderness creatures. They need, yes, forests and wilderness, but they're not in the middle of nowhere.
I'm zooming out because I just want to see where the closest body of water is. There's one here. It looks like that's kind of marshy.
Yep.
But if you want to find that, you can always change the base map. Let's go to a topo map. Let's find a good topographic map. There's a body of water right there. You can see.
Perfect. Yeah, that's very
So
close.
they're not far. And you can even, I don't know if I included the tool here for measuring, but you can even measure. Oh, I have to add it. It's in the other map. But the measurement tool, you can see it's not that far away either.
Zoom
really.
in even more, Scott. Keep zooming in.
Sure,
and go to
let me change
the
base
satellite view. Go to the actual
Yeah.
satellite view.
I'll go back to the sat view. Let's see, which one is that? Aerial.
And these are things that most of you can do. You can go to these maps. You can come up with your own theories.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep zooming in on that sighting, exact location.
It's about as, it's going to get grainy from here, but you can even see
Yeah.
what looks like fallen trees, logs and things.
My guess is this thing was on a mission. What time of year? That's going to explain a lot. What time of year was this?
It was October 15th, 1985.
All right, it's in the fall. My guess is it was heading south. It's on a mission to get to probably apple orchards and those kinds of things. Agriculture.
I wonder what's nearby. We can definitely tell that. Looks like there's some timber nearby. It's pretty straight lines. So it might have
that looks like replanted timber, a tree farm almost.
Yeah. Follow the river. See some fields with pretty straight lines.
It's one of the few that, of course, you happen to pick one that isn't on a corridor.
Right.
Or isn't near a stream or.
Well, it's pretty close. You can see the stream up here. It's not that far. But it is between two roads, and there looks like there's some, it might be on its way to, might be a stream.
It's
over
probably
here.
going from that tree cover to the next batch of tree cover, and that's where they get busted.
Yeah, it was right out in the middle of the field. I'm going to go over to this one here. It's definitely it's in water, in the in the middle of the marshy part of the lake.
Obviously, that's probably a little GPS coordinates a bit off. Yeah.
Somebody says they were trapping muskrat. So yeah, it's a swampy area back in the 80s, before I was born.
In the spring?
November
in the fall. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Lots of activity up here in the fall. Interesting.
Just pick other ones and just zoom in on them.
Yeah.
And just kind of get an idea of the habitat. One can learn.
Sturgeon River Forests. Oh. This one is that's a dirt road there.
Yep.
November as well. Recently, though.
See, to me, that's the time of year that I think, I don't know, I think it could be that they're on a mission to get into an area where there's food. They're probably craving that's really when a lot of apples are still ripe and there's corn in the field yet. And
Yeah, it looks like a lot of hunters are seeing Bigfoot in
People
this
are out
area. It makes sense. It's
hunting.
a lot of state game lands.
Yep. These things are on a mission. They're not as secretive, it seems like, when they're on a mission.
Trackway.
Those
Yeah,
are what
there's a lot.
I would call those months the extreme months, the tail end of summer, the very tail end of winter, starting of spring. Those are kind of the extreme months, when there's big weather change.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see if you look at a kind of a bigger scale, you can see there's a lot in between lakes. There's a lot, like on this scale, they're not very far from water, like you were saying, or some kind of corridor, like a trail or a road, um, going in between lakes, etc. I mean, Minnesota, how many lakes are there? Thousands.
Yeah, there's thousands.
If you like, we can jump to the newer map, which
Yeah.
has a little bit different, and I can kind of run you guys through some tips and tricks of how to use the new map, which I really like. So this is a newer map, and you might have looked at this one. Still has a similar background, but you can filter the data. So if I want to see, for example, all the footprints in Minnesota, here, I'll let it draw. I'm just going to go yes for all the footprints, apply. There's the footprints. I can do the same for historical data, track sign, click apply. And now I can see all of that on the map there.
And just, take a look, and you notice in far western Minnesota, which is all prairie, there's no sightings, no footprint finds.
Right. And I mean, when you look at it, all the water and all the cover makes sense. And you can kind of see the prairie even in the map.
A lot of farms, a lot more prairie.
Lots. There's so much to talk about the way to slice maps and look at things. And one thing, if I can digress a little, that you reminded me of was cameras. While you were talking about cameras, I wanted to show everyone that's watching something that is kind of a hidden gem, I think, in the classic map. I've got something called phenocams, and phenology is the study of seasonal change or cyclical change.
Mm-hmm.
What I've done for everyone is I've included these phenocams. You have to go into the legend layers and turn them on.
Okay, but let's just stop for a minute.
Yes, sir.
Look at all the sightings.
There's a lot.
It's a lot. And when you zoom in, there's far more.
That's
how many
right.
sightings have you put on maps now? Total.
Just over 14,000. It's
Gosh.
going up every day, but total 14,000. There's about 7,000 or so from the historical data set that I found on Manjani's, which is a project that stopped recording and maintaining their website around 2016. So I found that and massaged it to work for the website. And then there's about 6,600 or so from John Green's database that I was able to plot. And that was fun because I had to do some geography thinking where the lat longs were in some shorthand, and I figured out how he had the shorthand in his database. So I was able to plot those. They're not perfect, but they're close. And then in the crowdsource,
let's just go ahead and zoom in while you're talking, Scott.
Yeah, sure. The crowdsource red ones you see are from the Bigfoot Mapping Project, crowdsourcing, where you can submit a sighting here and you fill out the form and it'll jump right in the map. You can attach photos, etc. And there's about 900 of those so far, roughly.
And you really have to want to fill out a report. I mean, it's lengthy. It's a lot of questions. You're not probably going to do it just because you feel like hoaxing somebody.
No, and I do track. There's a disclaimer. I capture people's email, and Of course, I curate and read every report submitted, and if it's a little like a troll, it gets nixed. And
Removed.
people,
Yeah.
for the most part, have been pretty good, I would say.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and zoom in on some of these in Michigan and see what we see. Well, okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the yellow, the blue? The blue are footprints.
I'm glad you asked. As a mapper, I'm going to point you to the legend here.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most important things in a map, because without it, you're going to ask questions just like that. But the symbol should be able to tell you as well. Like green is an audible or a vocal. The track sign is a footprint, and the red is just a reported after 2020 when I started the project. And then here you can see this is the historical database. I'm going to highlight it so people know where I'm talking about. But the yellow is a sighting from the historical database. And then I already highlighted green, blue, and orange, just didn't have a defined type. If you see a green Bigfoot, that is John Green's database. It was kind of easy to choose which color to make those. I'm glad I hadn't made that color, dedicated it to something else yet. And then, like I was saying before, if you have these phenocams turned on, I'll go find one up here.
See, Alex, can you leave those questions up longer and so we can get them answered? And then,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't see them all, so please stop me if you want me to
so
cover
okay,
the
what
question.
type of activities are you recording on this mapping project?
Basically anything that occurs, we try to leave room. I'll pull up the survey here that you can fill out, but we capture in a standardized fields date and time, the color, the height, whether it was male or female Bigfoot, if you can tell. You don't have to answer every question. Whether they were young with the parents, did it vocalize? Did you find footprints? Hear wood knocks? Get any pictures or video? And then we have a lot of fields for you to fill out to describe your encounter. You can post a website if you have a link to like a YouTube video or something. And then we also have additional comments if the first one to describe your encounter or report isn't enough, and then we just capture your email. So we're trying to be as standardized as possible when it comes to Bigfoot behaviors and things you're seeing. But
Yeah.
also, if we don't capture that, then we leave room for the intangible stuff or the stuff that we didn't think to include in the survey, so we don't miss out on describing your experience as well.
Now, what about the BFRO data? Is that in here?
Yes, you just saw me pull up a report
Well, Lori,
before.
okay, so let's pick a certain one. Lori had
Mhm.
mentioned just outside Traverse City.
Traverse City. Okay.
And
Help me with that. I'm not familiar with Michigan.
Delano County. Where's Gooden? That's upper. I would imagine that's upper Michigan,
I'll tell
Lori.
you what. I'm going to show everyone how to look for a city anyway.
Oh, okay.
Traverse City. You can zoom right to it in the search bar. Okay, we are in Traverse City, and just outside, you said?
Yeah. Go ahead
Okay.
and zoom in more.
Okay. Where are we looking, Lori?
So give us some more details, Lori, on where this sighting happened. If you have the map.
Just north.
So north of Traverse City. Was it near the lakes that are shown?
I'm zooming out just to see what else is on the map. Like Lake Lee over here? It's kind of north, a little northwest. That's all I see that's north.
Well, next to Lake.
Oh, there it is. Yep. That's what I was thinking. Okay, perfect.
Oh,
Lake
there we go.
Leland.
Are there any sightings around that? So any sightings around that lake?
There are. There's 2 vocalizations.
But no sightings.
No sightings where they actually saw Bigfoot, but they heard.
Lori, it's very quick. If you go right to Scott's Bigfoot Mapping Project, you can give him that data, and he could. Okay, for instance, you could. She can send you the info, and you'll update it.
Yep, or you can just go right into the map and fill out by clicking
yourself.
this one over here and fill it out. That's a great way to get everything in. That way, it's your words. Go straight into the map.
Do you have the Patterson-Gimlin film sighting
Over by
mapped?
Bluff Creek?
At Bluff
I
Creek,
believe
yeah.
I do.
Do you actually
Let's
have
see.
Patty just mapped
Let's
on there?
see. We got to go to Sierras.
Scott,
Where's
if you don't
Happy
have the
Camp?
most famous Bigfoot sighting mapped.
I definitely do. Happy Camp by Bluff Creek. Would you look at that? Footprints, and there should be a John Green sighting here as well. 1967, Class A, Happy Camp. Let's find Bluff Creek, though. Zoom out a little. There's a few.
Creeks don't always show up so well on maps, satellite maps.
No. I know it's by Bluff Creek. I know I have it because I made a t-shirt of it, believe it or not. I'll search for Bluff Creek. That'll probably be better. I know Tate Hieronymus is on here, and he's great. He told me to say that before I came on the show.
Tate is great.
He can give me the coordinates to Bluff Creek, California. There we go.
Tate is great.
Tate is great.
Did they ever do that expedition where they were going to all walk out there with lightermen? They were going to do a long walk to Bluff Creek, or is that this summer?
Tate, is he still on here? He might have left. I don't know the exact coordinates, to be honest.
Oh, there you go.
I don't go look at Patty.
Can you find Bluff Creek?
Yeah, Bluff Creek. I just zoomed to Bluff Creek. I know it's by Happy Camp. I just don't know where the creek. There's Bluff Creek right here.
All right, go ahead and just travel the creek.
There's one that was reported as a track sign in 77.
Just kind of zoom in and just scroll along that.
Another track. All the way up here. Keeps going. 64.
That's pretty amazing. All right, Scott, now we're going to let you. What do you want to, let's talk about the corridors and, where they go, where you think, what do you think you're seeing at this point?
Sure.
What patterns are you seeing? Which ones are you not seeing, which is important too?
I will start by jumping to.
Alex, I would like you to ask questions because you're more going to go at it like, let's say you just had a sighting, Alex, or you're just skeptical. I mean, what stuff are you looking to be impressed with? Include,
Well, did we talk about this? Where the Patty sighting was, there was only 6 sightings around.
Yeah, there's not been a lot there.
Is that because it's so hard to get to?
It's hard to get to.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get right to that one area, but I mean, beyond that, it's some pretty rugged area.
Is it a tourist spot though? Do people try to venture out there?
Yeah, you can park and
I would go. I'd make that a trip.
Walk down.
Sounds like fun.
I actually went with Bob Gimlin to the spot, wandered around it was the first time he had been back there to find the spot. I mean, that guy was like an 18-year-old.
And he went right to it, I'm sure.
The hell no, because the creek had changed, positions. He was looking for certain tree markers. Tree and stumps is what he was looking for. And we did find it. It was really cool being there.
Interesting.
All right. So let's get into some secrets, Scott.
Oh, the secrets. So, you know what? I'm going to bring up, rather than the corridors and stuff at the moment, I'm going to bring up a project I'm actively working on. I haven't published anything about this yet. But what I've done is create a hotspot map, and you can see that the density analysis I've done is very, very precise, right? So if I zoom in on Pennsylvania, for example, right, and what I've done is it's called a kernel density analysis, and it looks at spatially significant clusters of sightings, right? And I put the parameters in to make them very close. The closest, densest amount of sightings where there's a lot within like a mile or two um, will start to turn yellow. So you can see these islands of yellow clusters where there are spatially significant, again, bunches of sightings. So to me, those are areas that indicate a lot of Bigfoot activity. Over the years, it could be clustered together. Time was not a factor, just location in this analysis. But I saw somebody say New York in the comments, and that's one of the ones that surprised me when I did the analysis is the Adirondacks here. Little fact, the Adirondacks are the largest state park in the nation, actually. But when you look at Sabbath Day Point, we've got a bunch of reports that start to show up here.
Wow, they're really okay.
Sabbath Day Point.
Keep zooming in. A lot of people are looking at this on their iPhones.
Oh yeah, so you can start to see that they're right along the shoreline of Lake George.
Wow,
Lake George is a cool place. If
can
you ever
you
get
zoom
the
in
chance to
even
visit.
more, Scott? Can you zoom in more?
Yep,
There we go. So each one of those black dots is a sighting.
that's right.
Wow.
Each one of these black dots with the yellow halo here that I'm highlighting is a sighting. So what I thought was interesting, I mean, I'll say I'll say it this way: is there's some that popped up. I'll zoom out to the high level again. There are some hotspots that popped up that I thought were a surprise, if you will, like one in South Dakota near Little Eagle, South Dakota. The Grand River is a nice corridor, and you can see that when I turn the sightings on. It's really interesting. They're all following the Grand River for the most part, or they're scattered
Yeah, it's
about,
a
but for
general
the most
rule.
part,
Yep.
yeah, it's very interesting. It's an interesting travel corridor, but I didn't expect that to be a hotspot. When I looked at hotspots, you don't hear South Dakota as having a lot of Bigfoot sightings, but when you look at it a different way and try to determine where there are clusters in a lot of sightings in one place, it pops up as a hotspot. Very interesting, I thought. Anyway, there's another one that is confirmed. It's interesting that these are confirmed, but Fouke, Arkansas, over here in Arkansas, was confirmed right here as a hotspot. So you can see that there's a bunch of sightings near Fouke, right? Fouke, Arkansas, and there they all are, right? Again, you can see as I zoom in, they're all generally along creeks and rivers and those types of corridors. So this type of analysis is a different way of looking at things other than anecdotal, right? And I raised those 2 points because one, South Dakota, you don't hear about that, but when you look at it this way, it pops up really hot on the map as having a lot of sightings. So it might not be the first place you think to go, but when you dig into the data, it jumps out to you where it might not otherwise. And then this type of analysis, I think, is interesting, confirmed these other sightings and these hot spots and these famous places as really being a hot spot. And the analysis doesn't go based on someone's opinion. It's not influenced by what you think. It just solely looks at, the distribution of the data. So I thought it was interesting, the findings that came out of just looking at it this way.
People do not know other people have reported Bigfoots there. It's
No.
just, it's a pattern.
Yeah, I have a bookmark here. Let's see. California. We can go to.
And everybody, this is why I believe in Bigfoot. Not only my own sightings, but this data is so very, very specific.
I think it's exceptionally interesting. And I'm dying to go find that. I didn't think you were going to ask me where the Patty one was. I don't have it memorized, and it's killing me right now.
It's fine. We know
But it's there. It's in the map. I'm going to post. I'll send it for the show notes to prove it's there.
All right. So what's this? Oh, by the way, Troy asks, do you plan ever include cryptids other than Bigfoots? We're going to get that answered.
Mhm.
And then somebody asked about other countries. Yes, it's expanding into other
Yeah.
countries. So,
Actually, if we go back, there are sightings now globally. It just the map centers on the United States, the continental U.S.
yeah, scroll to
If you
another continent.
zoom out, there
Russia,
are sightings in Europe, Russia, Asia, Australia, even
Yowie.
even we got some Kiwi sightings here near Auckland, New Zealand. So yeah, there's actually some down here in Antarctica too that I find interesting. So yeah, if you zoom out, there are a lot of North American sightings,
I
growing
once
number of
I
European
once
sightings.
talked to a Arctic explorer. I had a real interesting story that it was actually in the Arctic, but it was quite far north. And there was a sighting by numerous people on the expedition.
Hmm, I don't have that. Well, I have some that are pretty far north, but
How far? Let's do that. Let's go. Let's
I think this is the furthest north sighting here
let's go look at it.
in Alaska, the Night Country. If you're watching HBO's new
I want to
show.
give you my footprint sighting on Selwyn Lake, Northwest
Oh yeah.
Territories.
Ah, the BFRO. We couldn't find the sighting, but the location's still there. There's a track footprint sighting.
Can you find Selwyn Lake in Northwest Territories?
Selwyn Lake.
Selwyn Lake.
SEL.
If you find Uranium City, then you're a few hour flight by small
Selwyn Lake,
plane.
Alberta. Or Saskatchewan. Which one do you want to go check
Well,
out?
it would be Uranium City would be in northern Saskatchewan, really far north. It's like
Here we
way
are.
up. It's
Does that look
abandoned
about
now.
right? Northwest Territories there.
Yep. And you're probably not terribly far from Selwyn Lake.
This says Selwyn Lake in Saskatchewan.
There you go. So that is the lake that we found footprints. Very, very clear, and literally not one or two, but endless amounts going off in a straight line, coming out of the water, and then up on the sand, and then the pea gravel, and then the tundra, and going off into the distance. And the ones in the sand were so clear.
This was the first time you saw tracks, right?
Yeah. And that's what got me into it. So is there anything up there?
No.
Yeah,
The
well,
closest thing is John Green doesn't even have anything up there in his database.
that's because nobody goes there.
Yeah, it's pretty sparse.
That's not I mean, that was a 6-hour float plane ride. Oh my God.
Yeah.
To get there.
Yeah, it's interesting that I should mention this, but the closer you get, talking maps, right? The closer you get to either pole, the bigger the landmass looks. So it's going to be more spread out when you do a projection, right? So Greenland's not really this big, and neither is Russia either. It's actually much smaller than it looks on a map. So it's just keep that in mind when you're looking at maps. Scale is a big factor, and projections are a big thing. And a projection is taking something that's round, like a globe, and making it flat, and it gets distorted in different ways.
Are there any other examples of really cool corridor things that really made you go, wow, like the South Dakota and like the
Yeah.
Appalachian, that peninsula was amazing.
Yes. There was actually a cool one that jumped out to me. If I go back to the bookmarks here, in Washington, I actually have secondhand, I should say, knowledge about Fort Lewis. If I can find it, Washington. Do you guys see it here? Lewis Military. Okay. So I would say a close friend of mine was stationed here, and he and I were talking about it earlier today, and he's a helicopter pilot, or was, and we were discussing these locations here in Fort Lewis, and he said these all center around a clearing, the only clearing in Pierce County, Washington, where he consistently saw elk, right? And it's a big,
Mhm.
thick pocket of wilderness and woods and forest. And he said, having flown thousands of hours, really hundreds to thousands of hours over this area, since it's where they fly and do exercises, these sightings line up with exactly what he would expect. And I thought that was really interesting that this analysis that I did really translated into and was confirmed by somebody who's actually flown this area and agrees, those sightings make sense where they are, and that hotspot makes sense, so it's interesting to get external verification from somebody who's really got an interesting view of that
Yeah.
area and got a
Fort
lot of
and Fort
experience.
Lewis, it's massive. I wonder how many
Mhm.
acres. How many acres?
Yeah, I don't know how much.
That's
I
a
don't know how
lot.
many acres it is. It's huge, but you can look at it here on the map. I'll turn the density analysis off and look how big it is, right? It's spans a lot. Let's see. We can do a rough measurement here. Measure. Let's do area. And we're going to do imperial, and we're just going to see what units do we want? Acres, square miles. Let's do square miles. It's going to do, I'll do roughly, right? I'm just going to click quick. We've got 38 square miles. That's huge.
Yeah, that's big.
Yep. And a square mile, for everyone that doesn't know, is about 640 acres. So if you break that down, that's, massive.
And obviously the sightings in Fort Lewis are all by soldiers, military people.
Yeah. Yep. These particular ones are outside the fence, so you can access them if you'd probably be trespassing. But if you were general public and you happen to be on the base, you could get there. They're not behind the fence, in the secure area. But
I
yeah,
got asked Scott once to speak at a military base out of the blue. And I was like, this was years ago. And I thought, I wonder why. And I thought, I bet you they're having sightings.
there's somebody I'm dying to talk to who was in Afghanistan, and they swear while they were it's another pilot, and they swear while they were flying in the mountains in Afghanistan, they saw Bigfoot or something similar to Bigfoot up and down. And that's not a military pilot generally. It's not somebody that's gonna, fabricate this. So I really, really, I'm dying to get that into the map and get the story, because I want to know what it was like, especially since it's in such a unique area. The mountains in Afghanistan are just rugged. So it's really something that I can't wait to talk to that guy and get it into the map and see if he's willing to really share it publicly. I think that would be really cool. That's one of the ones. I've got a couple that a lot in Washington that jumped out, but another one that I thought was interesting was Pennsylvania, and I think it's this one here. We'll zoom back out. Another one that was confirmed by the analysis, and people are probably going to agree in the comments, I hope, which is Chestnut Ridge. I think that's it over here. If I look at this better. Chestnut Ridge. Yeah, this is Chestnut Ridge here. Just by analysis, confirmed. Chestnut Ridge is famous for all the Bigfoot sightings. And when you turn them on and you look at the analysis, bingo, Chestnut Ridge, and there's all the sightings. So it's interesting what this particular analysis that's fresh, that I haven't even published yet, confirmed, and also new things that it highlighted that you wouldn't necessarily gravitate towards, because otherwise, without looking at it this way, you might not even realize that they are hotspots.
So let's focus on some of these corridors. Scott,
Sure.
I know that we had talked about Georgia. Did you send me something I missed?
I made a top secret map
Okay.
with some homeland security data. It's publicly available, but you just got to know where to dig. So this is talk about corridors. This has the same hotspot layer, but we'll go to Georgia since you were talking about Georgia, and it's got everything in it. It's got highways, and all the transmission lines, so power transmission, like we were talking about, right of ways. I didn't find any pipeline data that was reliable, but you can start to look at corridors, which I also have in the map. All the habitat connectors, they're the gray things in the map. So when you zoom in, you can see, um, these hot spots, and I'll turn them off so you can see the reports. There you go. In orange are the reports, and now you can start to see these. They're never far from a water body or a corridor or a road or some sort of connector, right? So they are, like you said, they're traveling a lot of the path of least resistance.
Can you zoom in
And
a little bit more? Because I'm sure people that have cell phones
oh,
are
sure.
not going to be able to see those orange dots.
Yeah. That.
They are tiny.
Yeah, it's the scale of the map. But I'll highlight them. I'll click on them so people can see where I'm talking about. So there's a dot here if you follow my cursor. And there's a few in the map here. So but you can see, like, they're close to the road here. They're right off local roads, right in between, right on waterways. So your theory is pretty good. It makes sense, right? But the flip side of that is that's generally where people are going to be too, right? So
Sure.
you need a person to have a sighting. But let's see, I'm missing a lot of comments. I have to do this ping pong thing because I have 3 monitors, so I have to look way over to my right to see anybody's questions. I want to make sure I'm answering them while I'm here.
John Baranachuk asks, do you have any population estimates on what you think? Because you've got a little different perspective than most people. What are your guesses? What's your guesstimate?
So I sliced this data based on, and if you hit my Instagram, you can see a video I did. I won't dig for it now, but it is up there. And I sliced the data by report, date. And what I did was I connected reports that happened on the same day by a line, right? To start to figure out, could that be the same Sasquatch that people are seeing on the same day, or is it too far to travel in a day, roughly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from there, there's a lot of reports that happen on the same day, and these distances between them are so far that it couldn't be the same Bigfoot. So that's the first thing I looked at. And then the second thing was, um, time of year, and I actually read the reports and saw what people were saying. It was a female Bigfoot, was a male Bigfoot, was there any young? And I came to the conclusion that it's similar to what Dr. Meldrum says, that this is a very small population, but they are far ranging based on what you see in the map. And there's another analysis that I've done, which is a seasonal analysis, and you can start to see behaviors that would lend credibility to that theory, where during the winter their sightings start to expand, like you were saying earlier, Doug, where they must be looking for food. It's just scarcely available, so they have to spread out more. And you start to see much more sparse sightings, which to me, if there was a lot of them in that area and they were traveling, you would start to see more dense sightings, and you would see more occurrences of sightings. But then as things warm up and there's more food available, or there's mating season, or those types of behaviors, they start to become denser, which makes sense. You need 2 Bigfoot to make another one, I'd imagine. So those types of behaviors are also confirmed in like a seasonal analysis. So when you combine date of sighting and measure in between the how far apart those sightings and occurrences are, and then you also look at their seasonal behaviors, you start to maybe get an educated guess on just an exact number. Not really, but it pushes me in the direction that there aren't too many Bigfoot wandering the forests and wilderness of North America, but there's enough to sustain a population, at least regionally. And when you look at the sightings, you can see, like an East Coast, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Kentucky, an East Coast population all the way down to Florida. You can see a lot of patterns there. And then you hit the middle of America, and there's not so many. Weirdly
I know, but
enough.
what's your estimate, Scott?
A number? You're going to nail me down to a number?
Well, first give us the number, then you can explain how the hell you came up with the number.
I don't really have a number. I think it would be.
I said just a guesstimate.
A guess? That's a tough one.
I'll
do an analogy here.
No, we want a hard number.
He's giving us a political answer. Come on.
I'm trying to break it down into terms that I can. I've never really thought about an exact number, to be honest, but I'm actively thinking. And
10,781. We want a number.
There you go.
Yeah, we need an exact number.
42. Isn't that the answer to the universe? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But I would say, just by deductive reasoning, I think you may be able to jump in on this, Doug, since you're a bear expert, but there's like 30,000 bears in Washington, right? And how many sightings do we really have a year? You can see, not 30,000 bears when you hit the wilderness, right? So I don't know, just thinking that there's that many bears and you don't always see them when you're in the woods. I would guess maybe nationally there's a similar number of Bigfoots, probably 10,000. That would be a high number.
All over North America. Okay.
Yeah, all over North America. Globally, I don't know. But 10,000 is still really high. So if I'll say a range.
And that's really not many when you spread them out throughout all of Canada and all of North America. It's really not. But obviously a lot of people would disagree with you on that. But.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a number. Don't quote me on that.
But I always go by two black bears. We've got 40,000 in Minnesota. I think more, but very few people have ever seen a black bear.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, they could be right there over the ridge, and you might not see them. So it's just also situational awareness of what you see when you're out there.
So would you be safe to say between 3,000 and 10?
I think that's a safe range. It could be less. I don't know what their range is as far as their territory, right? How far do they migrate? What's that behavior? But if you're going to pin me down, I'll say between 3
It's
and
one
10.
of the questions, and if you're not asking this, you need to ask it. What is the color of the creature? The height, the color. Because
overwhelmingly we get black and brown.
But then you could, you need to give quite a range. But then you could track maybe an animal, At least pseudoscience, you could say, okay, this is an Auburn red one. Here's another Auburn red one. There's another Auburn red one. Chances are it might be the same animal if they're as rare as.
Yeah, or their coats could change seasonally, like
I don't
snowshoe.
think they do. I don't think they do because
hair
look, they do from the young to old. They do seasonally,
like wolves. Yeah,
if they're human-like, they're not going to do that. They're not. Yeah. They're not snowshoe hares.
True. I guess they'd be more similar to a wolf then.
But do you ask that question, Scott? Are you asking that? What color hair?
I capture it. I haven't done that analysis yet, but yes, that is in the survey.
Okay. And you offer them choices?
No, that is, I believe.
I would offer them choices because it gives them a vernacular that can be consistent, reddish brown or like auburn color orangutan, you could have in parentheses, chocolate brown, black, white, gray, tan. I don't think you need them.
Like a spirit
probably
bear.
Not purple.
I haven't got any purple yet, but now that you said it, I'm sure somebody's going to put it in there.
Yeah. But I like looking at the big picture too. Just looking at this U.S. map, it's so cool because it's so dry in the middle there. I mean, it's a
It
dry,
really is.
arid area.
But that's well, touching on
And
South Dakota, right? When you zoom in, that's what I
yeah,
was talking about. You can
but the
see
few
this.
that are there follow the rivers.
Yeah, you can see this line here, way across. It's very interesting. This line here kind of meanders along just all the way across Nebraska and South Dakota. And that's really the only one that spans that gap. South
And
Dakota
what's
is a
there? What's there, Scott?
it's a river. I
Oh,
believe it's a
there's a
river.
river. Okay.
I believe so. It's the
Oh, yeah.
what river is that?
Yeah, that's pretty clear. There's a lot of.
Oh yeah. I don't know what river that is.
Follow.
The
Let's follow.
Niobrara River.
Let's follow the river. Keep following the river. See if we run into another sighting.
Zoom out so we can see it. Oh, I bet we do. I bet lunch we do. I don't know what scale I'm at. I could be just 20 miles.
Yeah.
Zoom out. Yeah, there's another one up here. In the river, you can kind of see this green area. Yeah.
It
I'm
is
out of
interesting
South
too
Dakota.
that they're just a little ways from the river.
Yeah, and I mean that's a road that
It's probably to
leads up
avoid.
from the river.
It's probably to avoid fishermen. And when they need water, they just make a little quick beeline down to the river, and
Yeah.
then out and away again. They like the high spots, the hills, and you can see they're just a little higher elevation than the river. Rivers are always the lowest elevation in an area. And they like to
Makes
get up
sense.
high. Yep.
But before I forget, if I can go back to one thing that I was trying to point out earlier, I think it's cool for folks to know what's buried here, a little treasure in the map. This is a tips and trick here from
Okay.
me
And
to
by the
you.
way, I got to ask this because Air Force brought it up. Any sightings in Mexico? Do we have any kind of reporting system out of Mexico? Or is it just
Not that-
no sightings because it's so arid?
That's a good question.
It's gathering.
I was pushing the other day. I made a post. I'm really trying to push for global reports. There's so much in this part of North America, right? That but when you get down here, there's just no reports, and that cultural, right? Bigfoot's so big in the United States that we're going to get people are aware, they are looking for Bigfoot, but I don't know about Mexico. Is this even a thing that people talk about? I really don't know. I would love to get reports in Mexico. If anybody knows, that would be very, very interesting.
Of all the probably hundreds
Even
of
South
times
America.
I've been to Mexico, I've never asked anybody ever. And I've stayed in, these mountain towns where we'll go bass fishing in the mountains.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
think we would have thought that I would have asked. I never did. Not once.
Oh, your mind was on fish.
Yeah, I was trying to catch trophy bass.
That's I'll have to ask about that. I love fishing, so I'd be curious.
Well, it's also interesting. They have the jaguars that are coming into Arizona up from Mexico. So there must be some decent, habitat there.
There used to be jaguars in Texas as well. I think the last jaguar that was found in Texas was in Kingwood, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And they just found you're right. They just found a new jaguar in Arizona. Another one. I think it was like a third one. There was 2 confirmed ones, and they just found another unique jaguar, and they can tell by the spots, right?
Okay, for grasshopper, let's go up to British Columbia.
BC, good old BC. All right.
Which is the opposite of Mexico.
Yeah, we're way up. All right. I'm going to zoom out so you can see everything in Canada and tell me where you want to go, because it's not well, I guess we can just hit BC first.
A lot of sightings near the coast.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, the farther you go north, there's not many people that live there.
Nope. Along the coast there are, but still few and far between. Oh, I forgot again. I didn't get to this treasure. I need to get this treasure in the map. Really quick, I promise.
Okay.
I want everyone to see this. All
Alex,
right.
you
I
got
was
to
trying
have
to
some
show
questions.
the Phenicam network. Phenology, like I was talking about earlier, the study of seasonal change. I think this is really interesting that a lot of people might overlook because it's kind of buried in the layers here. You can go to layers and you can turn them all on here. So they show at different scales. We'll look at Arizona since we were just talking about Arizona. These blue dots are all phenicams. So the root word there, cam, they capture thousands of images. When you click on it, it tells you a little bit about the site, and then you can actually go to the URL and you can dig through from the map all the images
That
of
is
that
so
particular
cool.
site. And there I'm like, this particular one has 60,000 images you can look at. So I put that in there so people can kind of, get an idea what
The
the
terrain
area
is
looks like. Yeah, the terrain looks like. You can even dig through like this, and I think it's really the way what I do for fun.
So,
It's
yeah,
I'll
like,
go look for one that's in between sightings. Here's one that's near sightings. What does that look like? You know what I mean? And let's, does
but
Bigfoot decide to pop up? If you could take AI and run it through all these, this one only has 800 photos. You can do this
Scott had
yourself.
too much Pepsi, Alex. It's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I get really excited about it.
yeah, well, it's
But
just I was wondering before you dug into the mapping project, before you started doing all this, like I'm assuming you had certain opinions, thoughts, beliefs about Bigfoot, about its existence, how many there were, so forth. Have any of your kind of thoughts on the subject changed as you've really dug into the data, or is it really just kind of confirmed what you had
Yeah, that's a
learned
good
or believed before?
so that's a really good question. Being in my teenage years when Bigfoot became really popular and hitting college and stuff, when finding Bigfoot was pop culture, I and I'll say this because I was talking to Renee the other day. I told her this. I thought they made up all those sightings. I was like, these people are just doing it for entertainment. It's all a bunch of, uh, you know, sensationalism, for lack of a better word. And I kind of, as a kid would just kind of assumed everyone was, wanting attention. And then there's people that just are making stuff up for one reason or another. But when I started, what inspired me to capture all of these stories in one place was when I got out of school and started working all over the United States. I got to understand the scale of the wilderness of the United States. So unless you've really traveled the roads and seen a sign that says next gas station 300 miles, and you have a half tank left, it doesn't sink in, right? That fear of like, oh man, that's the vast unknown, right? There's in some counties in the US, there's less than 6 people per square mile, right? Those frontier counties out west. And then when you're driving through them, and you're on these back roads doing the exploration work that I did, it really starts to sink in. Like there could be a lot, anything out here. It doesn't even have to hide. There's just no people to see it. So I started to really understand the scale of the United States. And then secondly, the people I did talk to that own land out there and have lived in these places their entire lives, I got to talk to them, right? And a big part of my job was learning these properties, learning how they work the land, learning about the areas and the wildlife out there. And when you get to know these people, I lived on these prospects for years. And when you get to know these people, they start to open up to you and they start to bring you to places on their property where, their grandfather saw a Bigfoot. And then, they'll tell you about their neighbor. You got to go talk to this guy. He was hunting in West Virginia and he saw a cinnamon colored Bigfoot. And you start to hear all these stories from people that are serious people, right? They're not, and it's just, I'm not asking about it. They offer up these stories because they're telling you about the history of their proud. They're proud to tell you. So with that combined with understanding the scale of the U.S. and then these stories that are separated by thousands of miles from people that they're just telling me, I started to think like this is really happening. And then I learned more and more about wildlife. I love wildlife, and start to think about could the wilderness and the ecosystems in the U.S. really sustain Bigfoot as an organism, right? Yes, I think so. Bears make it. Large mammals like elk make it. There's mountain lions. There's wolves. There's plenty of prey. There's plenty of food. So I guess in a long-winded answer to your question, I started out thinking that Bigfoot was just folklore and it might be out there. I didn't really care. I didn't really think about it. And then through maturing and listening to what people had to say, I really came to the conclusion that, I think Bigfoot's out there. And then finally, as a hunter, I live in Texas and I have a deer lease not far from Houston. And I'll jump into my personal experience with Bigfoot, I believe, where I was coming out of my stand. It was dark, and I was leaving for the evening. I was bow hunting, and as I was walking out, I was in a river bottom, and on my right was the pasture, and on my left, I was walking along a barbed wire fence, was the river bottom, kind of the pass through area where deer and wild boar and things travel, predators, bobcats, coyotes, you name it. And I looked to my left, and this is what solidified it for me, this experience. I looked to my left and I thought I saw a big wild boar just behind like sagebrush, like a Texas sagebrush. And they're not very tall, if you know, they're like, navel height when they get big. And so it was behind there, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to let this boar pass. I only have my bow. It's pretty big. I'm not going to outrun it, and I'm sure as heck not going to knock an arrow and shoot it if it comes at me. So I was just stood there, and I was probably 30 or 40 yards from it. And as I was standing there, this blob stood up. And immediately I was just use a tech term, I was just buffering. I was like, what is, like, I didn't understand what was happening.
So you saw this boar.
Yeah. What I thought was a boar. 2 legs. And I muttered embarrassingly, I said, whoa. That's all I could think to say. And when I didn't say it very loud, but I was close enough that it heard me, and it squatted back down. And I didn't know what else to say. And I am also embarrassed to admit this, because I wish I was more calm, cool, collected. But all I could think to say was, I see you. Just like you would say to like a kid, like you're playing hide and seek with, I see you. And when I said that, it stood back up, turned around, and bolted through all the cactus and thorns and
It ran?
You name it, trees. It ran, turned and ran.
Didn't care about any of that crap, huh?
Nope. And it was dark, no light. Any person couldn't have done that. No way. And it ran full tilt. So that for me, starting off not caring as a kid, not even caring, then going through this journey of, hearing all these stories across the US, combining it with my GIS mapping background and wanting to capture it in a database, to actually seeing a Bigfoot is a hell of a journey over, like we were talking about earlier, 17 years.
Right. But aren't you like everybody else? You see something and you don't even believe yourself. And this,
I question it.
Didn't your mapping project though really? I mean, that's why you started it, to confirm your own damn sighting.
Well, actually, it's the sighting happened after I started the mapping project. Believe it or not.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
you didn't offer that
believe
bit
it.
of information.
Yeah. So yeah, I know people are probably like, yeah, sure, the Bigfoot guy saw a Bigfoot, but I don't know.
Well, that's like
how it
just like
happened.
me, it's like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Dad,
believe it or not.
Bigfoot, yeah.
Dad, don't you say you start paying attention, and then that's when you notice things?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Well,
Yeah.
it is weird. And what I would love to do, not to digress too far or depart from our conversation, but what I'd love to do is I read an article where they can hook nodes up to your brain, and AI can make a video of what you're dreaming. And I would love to go under hypnosis and stream what I saw that night, because I swear it was huge. It was Bigfoot. Like, there's nobody can convince me otherwise. When I replay it in my mind, it was right. It just was Bigfoot.
Well,
I
we're going
just
to be
know it,
doing
right?
that in March. John Baranichuk is a PhD in neurology, and we're going to be taking people and regressing them, double witnesses, so they can replay their actual sighting again.
I'll volunteer for that.
Get your own damn ticket and get up here.
Yeah.
Hop
But
in your
seriously,
car.
yeah. So
we'd have time. We'd have time to do you, Scott.
we'd
squeeze
step
you
in it. Yeah.
No, we'll squeeze you. But then I can do all your interviews.
Yeah, true.
And we can do all that stuff. And then I won't have to spend money coming down to you.
Yeah, and it was just very warm here in Texas. It'll already be in the 80s. It was 85 today in Houston. So by the time you come down, it'll be April, right? So good luck. It might be really hot, and which means
nobody has
mosquitoes will be
regressed.
bad.
Okay, nobody has ever regressed Bigfoot witnesses. It's never happened.
I'd be very curious. I'd be excited to hear what came out of it, because
well,
I can remember it vividly, but it's different things come out under hypnosis. So I'd be really excited to hear what happens.
It'll be interesting. It'll be probably one of the most entertaining parts of the thing, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how well, but we like the idea that some of these people are double witnesses. So
so they've got
that'll be interesting, and it just helps kind of confirm. I'm just trying to raise the awareness for a lot of people. I mean, there'll be a lot of skeptics watching this show. Lots.
I'm going to take down my screen for now, so people aren't just staring at the map. They can see our faces a little better.
Yeah. So I don't think Alex, he answered your question. He gave you the political.
Did I?
Answer. No, he said,
diplomatic.
Okay, let me rephrase it exactly the way he asked it.
Okay.
How did the mapping project affect your belief in these creatures?
Okay. The mapping project, the data.
Yes. How did the data?
When you look at all 14,000 sightings, right? That's what I know about. I can touch. If one of them is true, there's a Bigfoot, not including my sighting. So I'm convinced that
that's still not where I wanted to go, Scott. Okay. That's
not
where I
good
wanted
enough.
to go, Scott.
Not good enough.
Not
Scott.
good enough. No. Okay. By inputting all these in and seeing patterns.
Okay.
Based on patterns that must have confirmed without any doubt, it helps. Because, you saw this black blob stand up and run, okay? Mm-hmm. But there's still doubt in a person's mind. I know I've seen them, and I'm like, I didn't see the face. So there's not this it wasn't 5 feet from me smiling at me.
Right.
And you had the same kind of sightings I had. They're just far enough away to piss you off.
Just dark enough. It's a silhouette. You can't really. Yeah.
So
okay.
Did the data, Alex, is this good enough? Did the data convince you that your sighting was real?
Yes, for two reasons. The first one is external verification from actual corridor data that I put up into the map and intersected sightings along these corridors. So I verified. I was able to verify that these sightings that people are reporting, where they don't know where these corridors are actually occurring where all wildlife generally travels, right? So this is external verification. So yes, it checks a box there for me.
Yeah, it's not spurious data.
No, absolutely. And secondly, when I actually dig into the submissions and the images of footprints that are submitted, there are some very, very, very convincing footprint reports and photos that have come in. So if we're talking about like we're talking about my opinion in those terms, I hope that answers your question. But yeah, there's two facets of the data that definitely confirm to me that Bigfoot is out there, and that my sighting and my encounter was most likely a Bigfoot. Absolutely.
Okay. So the next thing we're going to focus on. Oh, and by the way, John Baranichuk said, "Does your data include BFR?" I think we may have mentioned that it does. Correct?
It does include BFR only up to 2016.
Okay, because they have a ton of
and-
sightings in the flats.
Yeah, and I don't have access to flats, and I don't know if they. I know that that's like a contained reporting system as far as being how it's published. I don't know, but I don't have everything. Only through 2016,
Gotcha.
whatever was public. Mm-hmm.
So okay. So here's what I want to drill down to. You have two forested areas separated by a narrow corridor. Okay, like a narrower, a bridge between 2 points that's narrower. Surrounded by maybe more suburbs. Are there any sightings that you can point to specifically tonight that were seen in the corridor? Does that make sense?
Oh,
If
yeah.
not, I'm happy to rephrase the damn question.
I need more caffeine. Yes. Let me
Let me
refer to a map.
Pepsi,
here.
Alex.
Yeah, please. We can hit. Actually, I'll share my screen.
Oh, yeah, and Kevin Morrison's got to go. Kevin, I will promise I'll get to that.
Let me share my screen again here. I'll jump to Minnesota again. And we're going to share my entire screen.
I need to get what I'm going to do. I've got to plan this out. I got to get David on with Scott.
Here we go. So Minnesota, yes, I'll zoom in for everyone.
So I'm looking for two forested bigger areas that offer more cover, a thinner corridor area, and sightings in the bridge. Let's just call it a bridge. You have a bridge over a freeway. It's kind of what a corridor is.
Here, we're looking right off the lake here.
Alex, he didn't hear a word I said. He's worse than
I
you.
did. I did. I'm listening. I'm just trying to answer your question as quick as
I'm just giving you crap, Scott.
Let's see. What map can we jump into to verify that? Let's go here. Minnesota Lake. We're looking. You guys know about where that is here?
Yeah, it's kind of the St. Croix Valley area.
Here it is. It was close to the lake.
St. Louis River. That's the St. Louis River, I believe.
Yeah. So this is the closest thing just from looking at the corridor map that I could tell. But
is that the St. Louis River, Scott? I believe.
Yes, it is.
Oh, good. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's close, but I'm gonna, off the top of my head, I can't really point to one that's between two like populated areas. I'll have
right.
to.
I'm just looking. I'm looking for examples of the bridge.
Yeah.
And are there? Because you would think that's kind of where they might be busted in some ways more. Higher chance they're going to be busted in those corridor areas.
Yeah,
because they got to kind of sneak through them, they're narrower.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, let's see if we can find another one down here.
And I personally do know of Bigfoots being seen in corridor areas, and I also personally know none of those have been reported to you.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Damn it.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I
could spend 4 days with you and just give you really exact sightings.
I would love that.
But, I'm like, in the big picture, does it matter? Well, yeah, it kind of does. But...
Oh, yeah. That's a great point, actually. I think it really does matter. Because otherwise, if we don't know about those sightings, right, then the data is going to indicate something else, right? And then I might make a conclusion or a hypothesis that...
Or other people, yeah.
Exactly.
Have you ever thought about just sitting down and doing one-on-one sessions with researchers that can tell you exactly where there's sightings that have happened that you don't know about? like myself, just sit down for, just
I
like
would
you got
love that.
nothing better to do, right? With a young
Oh
child.
no, yeah, 3-month-old baby, nothing better, dude.
No,
But
yeah. I'm sure your wife would love it if you just spent a whole Saturday with a researcher just to get more sighting data.
But I would love that. If you have time, I can figure it out. But I will point out here there is a researcher login, and if you're bigfoot.com/researcher and you are a researcher that wants to submit your reports, I do have an area for that. So
Mm.
I've had the idea. I just haven't had a lot of time to
Yeah,
dedicate to
is
that.
there a way that we could just go click, 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 click as a starting point? And then you could have a code for those that these have been unverified.
It's possible. Yep.
That would be the
Do that.
quickest way for tons of researchers to give you more data. Because one thing I will say, researchers are not going to be pulling your leg. They're gonna tell you it straight up. Most of them will be 100%. And we just go just really quick, fill out the dots where these sightings have happened. I mean, I know of tons of them that you're missing. And
Oh yeah,
I could do it really quick, but to fill out a form for each one, I got little grandkids now I got to take care of. And so I don't have that much time either to fill out these long reports either.
Yeah. If anybody for that matter is a researcher and has an Excel sheet of just coordinates, I can stream that in 2 seconds into ArcMap or ArcGIS Pro that I work with. So that is basically what I had when I was looking at John Green's database. It was an Excel file, a flat Excel file that I worked with, and basically took every row was a report and had coordinates, and I just did a table XYs to point, boom, streamed it in and made sure it looked good and cleaned it up a bit. And it was 6,600. After I cleaned up the Excel file, 6,600 sightings or reports were added to the map in once it was cleaned up, a half hour, roughly, not even, just to make sure everything fell in the right place and kind of clean it up a little. I will add a disclaimer that it's lat longs and they're not very precise. So some of those locations from the John Green data are not right where they describe in the reports. They're just the precision on the lat longs that he used was not as precise as some of the reports that you'll see from other data sets.
Have you ever compared the missing 411 map with your sighting map?
I've done one of those, and I've caught flack for it. Some people didn't like it, some people did, but
I would imagine it lines up perfectly.
What I looked at was missing persons reports in national parks versus Bigfoot reports in national parks. I focused on state and national parks, and it lines up really well. But again, I'll refer to scale, right? When you look at the whole United States, almost anything is going to line up. When you drill down and zoom in, they could be 5 miles apart, but you're not going to see that on if you're looking at the whole U.S. But still, there's a lot of overlap. It's there.
Yeah, well, I believe like John had. Go ahead and throw John's comment up, Alex. Yeah, but I believe in this on the edges. They're utilizing all these walkways, and they burn up less calories.
Just like any other animal, deer, boar.
Yeah, take your friend on a walk, and where's he going to want to walk? In the forest or on the path?
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Even if you're, I've seen this. If you're hunting out in the woods where there's a lot of leaf litter, if you sweep and clear a path just down to the dirt, the deer will walk in that. Then they will follow it exactly.
Gotcha.
It's pretty interesting, their behavior when it comes to established pathways.
So Lori mentioned that she had sent me photos, which I did examine. I believe it's just a single footprint. But yeah, it certainly could be a Bigfoot. And that's the one in Leilanu. Sounds like a Hawaiian name, county.
I couldn't say it. Yeah, I was going to butcher it. In Michigan, right?
Yeah. Anyhow. So, Alex, do you got another?
Did you see Lori Barnes?
Do you have another good question, Alex?
Well, I want to just build on top of my previous question. So the thing,
I didn't answer it good enough. I'm getting butchered here.
Well, it's like, what did you change your mind on? Like, and I don't mean like believing in Bigfoot or not believing in Bigfoot. I mean, like,
was there anything? Yeah, that's a
like
great
for example, you thought there maybe there's 10,000 when you first got into this. Did you think there was maybe 10 in the whole? And you're like, boy, there's way more based on the amount of sightings. Is it? I think they're more concentrated in this part of the country based off of the site. What is the data showing you that maybe you didn't believe before, or maybe it kind of confirms what you had already thought, but actually, about what we know about Bigfoot?
One of the things that I thought before starting the project was that Bigfoot was more of a Pacific Northwest phenomenon, right?
Yeah, and that's pretty popular belief, right?
Exactly. And I thought really, it wasn't like a big thing in New York or the East Coast, or like I just didn't realize before starting the project. But when I look at the data, it shows me that actually some of the densest sightings and the most sightings are like in Ohio, right? Ohio is a huge, huge, has a lot of occurrences of Bigfoot. So I think it just extrapolating on that, I think it really started to inform me that there must be way more Bigfoot out there than just in the Pacific Northwest, right? How could they get it, how could anything travel that far and have as many reports?
Okay, so the main thing is that you figured out was, oh my God, they are spaced all over the whole country.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the map, it speaks for itself. It's, as you pointed out before, it's just like, oh my gosh, there's so many sightings all over almost every state in the U.S. And it just really opened my eyes to what's happening with this species in the U.S. I didn't realize that scale until I really saw it plotted. I mean, I just didn't think about it.
Is there any other, because you had talked about anecdotes, like, okay, Bigfoot, he lives in the Pacific Northwest. Is there anything else like you hear a lot of people say that you feel like maybe your data is pointing in a different direction? Not to say it's true or not, but
I do hear one thing a lot, and that is Bigfoot is violent, or that Bigfoot attacked people. And that is not reflected in a lot of the reports. But when the stories that are more entertaining for people to listen to, I notice on
I guarantee, Scott, let me stop you. I guarantee most of those podcasts are getting those big numbers. These are just made up things. People read them. The reason they read the story is because it's made up. Because that way nobody can blame them. It's just bull crap. They're probably having AI write that crap. Bigfoot had my baby. Whatever.
So those are things you hear. Like,
please, that shouldn't. Yeah.
Exactly. Those are the things that get traction that you hear about Bigfoot, but that is not what the data is showing, right?
No.
It's not their behavior. It's not. So
No.
yeah, that's one thing that you hear a lot, and people that are on the aren't generally interested in Bigfoot, but might catch a podcast here or there, or might see a headline. They'll think, oh, Bigfoot, if I go out in the woods, I'm going to get ripped apart by this.
If you listen to some of those stories, oh God, yes.
Yeah,
you're going to get ripped apart or worse.
I just don't trust anybody who, okay, put it this way. Let me qualify something. I've been doing this 35 years, and I've never gotten a letter that's as fantastic as even one of these letters that they read every week.
No.
And they read them every week. And it's like, really? And it's like, I get it. It's
that's why I bring it up, because it's frustrating.
But they read them like they're real letters. And there's no way they could be, because then why haven't I ever gotten any?
Well,
Why did they
why
get?
wasn't I
They
ripped
get them
apart?
every week.
You know what I mean? Well,
Yeah.
the Bigfoot that I saw turned and ran, and it was definitely bigger
Yeah.
than me. It had to be 7 to 8 feet tall and massive. And I'm not a big guy. I'm not. I'm like 5'8", 5'9" if I'm wearing my boots on a good day. And I certainly could have. It could have outrun me. It could have torn me apart if it wanted to. But it decided to turn and run. Even if it was a person, right? Let's just say that it was a person and there was a confrontation there. That person could have torn me apart, but it didn't. And it ran. And I think it speaks a lot to what you said at the very beginning of the podcast, where these are animals that operate on extreme fear. They're going to go through every precaution not to be seen, not to be found, not to be heard. They're going to avoid people at all costs. And I think that's why I bring that up, because the things that grab the headlines and grab everybody's attention are so entertaining, indicate that Bigfoot, is gonna take your baby and run into the woods, or hide your kids, right? That kind of stuff. But it's like, that's not what you see in the reports. Generally, Bigfoot is cautious. It's always on the periphery. It's definitely trying to avoid people. It travels at night mostly, right? And that's when, catch it in your headlights crossing the road or something like that. But you never hear in the database that I've seen 14,000 reports. I can't think of one that I've read where somebody said Bigfoot chased me, Bigfoot attacked me, Bigfoot hurt somebody.
Yeah.
They were scared.
Yeah.
And I think that's more a reflection on the people having a sighting and fear setting into somebody, and that can influence your memory of something and your impression of something.
Okay.
But
Well,
I don't
John,
think it's the creature itself.
John Baranachuk says, would you consider your experience of a Snow Grove aggressive? Aggressive from a standpoint of trying to intimidate us. But I guarantee 9 chances out of 10, somebody could have run out there and went boo, and they would have ran.
I mean,
which is the reason they're doing it, because they don't want a confrontation. They want to throw a rock at the cabin. They want to bang it, but they probably bang it and run, just like a gorilla will smack the glass, but he'll always head the other direction after he did it. He knows he did something wrong. Bears do that. They bluff. They'll stomp the ground. They'll clack their teeth. They'll put their ears back. They'll bluff. They'll blow. They'll, when they come at you. But if they're making noise, chances are you're safe. Because if you're really trying to hunt and hurt somebody, you're not going to be throwing rocks or, like making noise on the cabin. And
you're not going to announce
it. Is scary, but it's only kind of probably in our own mind. Does that make sense? Like if a bear comes at you and it ain't making any noise, then you got a problem. But if it's just blowing and stomping the ground, we've kind of proven that, through working with Lynn Rogers, that these bears, we even took cubs away from a wild mother that did a lot of bluffing, and she never defended them. So even she was just bluffing. Black bears do. And so, kind of interesting. But one again, I didn't have enough courage, John, to run outside and to see if I got grabbed and ripped in two. So I'll never know, but I'm guessing. Yes, it's scary, and yes, they do things to intimidate, but if you really think about it, it's done so they don't have to confront you.
Yeah, because if they wanted to, they could have.
I mean, God, there was just a thin door with a butter knife in it. Well, there wasn't even a butter knife in the door. It's like plate glass, a little thin piece of glass. They'd find in a thrift store, and a door that's hollow. I mean, it's no way you're keeping a Bigfoot out if it wants to get in. And that's why it did come into the cabin when nobody was there. They're afraid of they operate on fear. So that's my thing. Once again, I don't know 100%. It's just what I kind of think. And I don't know 100% that everybody that reads a letter, it's some made up letter. But I'm just saying it's kind of especially the the real wild ones that, oh my God, I mean, people sending me these things. And I'm like, oh my God, really? Bigfoot raped me. Bigfoot did this. Bigfoot did that. And it's like, really? Those people don't, I don't know. They don't help the research any. Let's put it that way. They don't help it. So
I hope, Alex, that answered your question this go around. I hope.
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, because you have so many sightings and they're not violent, right? You have thousands and thousands of them, but then
they're consistent. They're very consistent in their behavior.
But if you go to some of these podcasts, you'd think that you're gonna get your head ripped off. You go out into the woods.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's frustrating, is that's the most entertaining thing that they can talk about on some of these podcasts, and then hearing that, it's just the complete opposite. It's frustrating to hear that.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Well, I think we're out of time. Yeah, there you go, John. Yeah, and all you'll do, and they'll run away, and that'll be the end of the research for the week. Because that's probably all that's going to accomplish out of that. That's what they're trying to do, no doubt, is maybe to get you to come out just to see you. They might even be curious. Who knows? We'll never know. Probably never, ever know. Just crazy. But we keep trying like idiots. We keep trying. And with that, is there anything else, Scott? Obviously, the Bigfoot Mapping Project. It's bigfootmapping.com, www.
It's just bigfootmap.com. I like your transition, though, how you ended like, we'll keep trying like idiots. And then you're like, and to Scott. But yeah, I will keep trying. It's bigfootmap.com.
Map, okay.
And if you want to follow along and see a lot of the analysis and the maps that I make, it's Bigfoot Mapping Project on Instagram. And those are the two best ways to really either make a report or follow along with what I'm doing. And the best way to reach out would be through my email. It's a dedicated email. It's scott@bigfootmap.com. with questions or criticism or whatever you'd like to, if you have trouble making a report or anything you need other than what's on the website or Instagram, the best way to reach out is scott@bigfootmap.com. And please, if I can beg for more sightings, if you know somebody that had a sighting and or an encounter or found a track or anything like that, and it hasn't hit the map yet, please encourage them or reach out. And the more information we can get into the map, the more conversations we can have like this, where we can actually drill down and find out what's going on with Bigfoot and make some more insights, like the hot spots and like the corridors or Bigfoot color or everything we discussed on the show. So I think there's only more information will only help.
Well, with that, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody in chat. Just looking if there's anything else that we missed that's so important. Now, I have a question for you, Scott. Is the new map and classic map like New Coke and?
Yeah, there's no sugar in the new map.
Oh, okay.
No, it's sugar free.
Okay. All right, everybody. And just remember, good judgment comes from experience. Real experience comes from bad judgment. Good night, all. We'll talk to everybody later. Good night.
Good night.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know